For the final time in this first season of the Pedrigree Xfinity Series, good evening everybody. We're getting set to go racing here. Race number 15 on the year. It's the season finale, and our final four are set to battle it out here this evening for the championship. The other remaining 36 drivers, they just want to finish off the year with a checkered flag. We're getting set for a total of 54 laps of racing here tonight. And at the end of those 54 laps, we will know who is going to be the champion. Will it be Kyle Thomas? Will it be Sean Gallighan, Ashlyn Boyd, or Trent Dunham? 4 different drivers, 4 different stories coming into this one, but each story, it's so interesting that each story takes each one of these 4 drivers as a favorite coming into tonight. There's really no clear, pure favorite driver out of these 4 when you compare what's gone on to them not only here during the playoffs, but also during the regular season. Let's start with Kyle Thomas. For a time, he was the only multi-time winner on the season, picking up checkered flags at Higgs Stadium and Riverside Rally. He had that honor until Patrick Zych went back-to-back during the playoffs about 3-4 weeks ago. But Thomas, even with those wins, he was so consistent that he came into the season finale already locked in. He was over 50 points ahead of 20th in the standings. No doubt his 2 wins were going to put him into the playoffs. He had a strong, really strong regular season. And if we didn't have this playoff system, it's very likely he would have won the overall championship. Now, with a playoff system in hand, he's been able to fight his way into the Final Four, but he doesn't want to have the fact that a playoff system and reformatted points were there and completely dwindled his very extensive points lead. He doesn't want to come up short here tonight. After a dominating regular season, he wants to close it out in the playoffs with a championship. Sean Gallighan, probably the most consistent driver here during the playoffs. He's the only driver coming into this in the Final Four that has not won yet this year. And what a big win it would be for him if he were able to hoist a trophy tonight, that being the championship trophy. He's been the most consistent during the playoffs, usually been lingering around 2nd or 3rd in the playoffs. So consistency, we say, always seems to get you into the playoffs, but does it win you a championship? Ashlyn Boyd, probably been the most clutch driver here during the playoffs. Of course, had the win at Road America, stayed 2nd in the points for a majority of the regular season after that. But Ashlyn Boyd has been clutch during the playoffs, had a struggling run at the playoffs opener at Chatham. By 1 point, managed to get into the round of 7 at Chicagoland. Then, round 2, Nazareth, another poor performance, but a 3rd place run last week at Under Armour was enough for Ashlyn Boyd to get his way barely into the Final Four. 2 times, it's been an elimination race. 2 times, Ashlyn Boyd has come up clutch. Can he come up clutch here in an elimination race where we will whittle it down from 4 to 1? And then Trent Dunham. Trent Dunham just barely made it into the playoffs. Let's be honest, he was just a few points ahead of 20th in the standings. His win at ISM was enough to get him in. Trent has actually been on an interesting trend, which could play in his favor here tonight. He ran well in the first playoff race at Chatham. He's the highest finishing playoff driver, had a big enough lead where a DNF the following week at Chicagoland was enough to still move him into the round of 7. Then you go to the playoff round number 2. Nazareth was the highest finishing playoff contender, finished up inside of the top 10. Last week at Under Armour, had issues, didn't finish that well, but he had enough of a points gap after his finish at Nazareth to move into the Final Four. So it's been a great run, highest finishing playoff driver, bad run. Great run, highest finishing playoff driver, bad run. We're here at another track where if the trend continues, he would be the highest finishing playoff contender. Will that happen? I don't know. Let's focus here on the race now. Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Camrys, as far as the eye can see, they have swept the first 3 starting spots. Nicholas Romero starts on the pole position. Boy, what a great finish to the season it would be for a driver who is dead last in the point standings. Nicholas Romero, he gets the pole spot over his teammate S Ozkan. Ozkan, 2 runner-up finishes this year, has not yet found victory lane. He comes into this one currently situated in the 18th position in points, and then completing the sweep of the podium for the Joe Gibbs Racing cars, Emmanuel Hartnett. Hartnett's still looking for his first top 5 on the year. There's a couple other drivers that don't have a top 5, including Sky Commons, Skylar Perry, Nathan Stapleton, but Hartnett is 31st in the point stands as well. So he obviously would love to have a good run here this evening, maybe take a checkered flag. And then you got James McCloud. He's going to complete the 2nd row there in the 23 car. McCloud, another driver who's struggled in points this season, 30th in the standings coming to this one. As I said, 4 drivers are battling for the championship. The other 36 drivers could care less. They want to win here tonight at Homestead to either finish off what's been a pretty good season for them or an absolutely horrific season, depending on where they are situated in points. Without further ado, let's go down trackside. Let's get those most famous words in motorsports and get racing at Homestead.
Drivers, start your engines!
As the field will roll off here on the grid, you can look down in the description below for your starting lineup for tonight's race and see where the playoff 4, Gallighan, Dunham, Boyd, and Thomas are going to start. I believe the highest starting playoff contender is going to be Sean Gallighan, although he is starting on the outside line. I think during the course of this race, the inside line will be the preferred line. This will also give us a good idea of what to expect in tomorrow night's Duracell Cup Series finale, where we'll see the Toyotas of Michael Norman and Ryan Acosta take on the Dodges of Ryan Brommer and Zach Rogers in their Final Four for the championship. Going to be a longer race for that one. I believe that's 67 laps in length, 54 laps in length here tonight, and I do know these drivers cannot make it that full distance on fuel. Fuel window is somewhere between 28 to 30 laps. We may see them short pit, maybe cut this race in half and pit somewhere around laps 26, 27, so they can make it the rest of the way. Of course, if we have a yellow flag take place, that could completely change up the strategy as well. The final 4 drivers, you'll know them by the yellow banners, or actually rather the yellow spoilers. But they're going to be few and far between here in this 40-car field. Toyota Camry this season have not had a whole lot of victories. I think they've only had one, if I recall correctly. No, they don't have any wins. I thought they had at least one. As the green flag's in the air, let's roll at Homestead and crown ourselves a champion. I don't know why. I thought there was a Camry that went to victory lane, so they're still looking for their first win in the Pedrigree Xfinity Series, as Nicholas Romero going to edge out in front. Teammate Emmanuel Hartnett right there behind him. S Ozkan going to battle back on the top side, though, in the 19. And now Hartnett's going to make it 3 wide as he'll go to the inside. Now McCloud up the middle, puts Ozkan extremely to the outside. Who's going to lead the first lap? Is it the 20? Is it the 18? Ticker says it was the 20. Took a little time for that to update there, and now McCloud's going to make it 3 wide on the bottom. Puts Hartnett in the middle. Romero way up to the top side. Anthony Lopez ducks down low. He'll get in behind the 23 as Hartnett up the middle shoots out in front. 4 wide for a moment there out of turn 4. Romero almost brushed the wall coming off the corner, and it was McCloud, Romero, Ozkan, and Lopez that were 4 wide and somehow kept it together as Hartnett now clears for the lead. Ozkan into second. How about Matthew Logan side by side on the top side of McCloud for third? Looks like he might get McCloud cleared into 3. Not quite. McCloud is still there. Battle for the lead is on. Samet Ozkan to the inside of teammate Emmanuel Hartnett. Honestly, I don't think these two are looking at each other as teammates either. I think they're looking at each other as competitors. It's the last race of the season. It's not a super speedway. It's you against 39 other drivers. There are no teammates in this season finale. Up here towards the front, not seeing really any playoff contenders just yet. I see Sean Gallighan back there, maybe outside the top 15, in the middle 3 wide. But up front, it's all these non-playoff drivers. As now Matthew Logan will look to the inside of Samet Ozkan. I think he may have gotten the 19 at the line. Was the ticker say? Nope. Ozkan led that lap. It's all going to come down between our championship 4 of who is the highest finisher. You've also got bonus points that could come into play. If a playoff driver gets up here and leads a lap, they get a bonus point. If they lead the most laps, they get another bonus point. And boy, Anthony Lopez, if he can keep his car under him, that'd be a great thing. That car was absolutely fishtailing in the entrance of turn 3. As of right now, I believe Sean Gallighan would currently be in the championship spot. Let's drop back to him. There he is. Wow, he's in the middle. 4 wide. K Shearer, J Figadarello to his inside. Skylar Perry up top. They're still going to be 4 wide going into 3. Oh, give room, guys. Yikes, that was testy. And look who's coming up the inside line there. The 6 of Ashland Boyd. If Boyd can get side by side with the 39, that's the battle for the championship on track. More contact back there. Quentin Moore and Nathan Stapleton getting into it. Ashland Boyd's got Trent Dunham right behind him. I believe that's Trent. No, that's actually Kyle Thomas. It's so difficult to tell the 01 and the 0 apart from each other. I know they're both JD Motorsports cars, but you'd think that it'd be easy to tell a 1-digit number from a 2-digit number, but it really isn't. I think that I made a mistake with the two of them last week as well at Under Armour. And right now it would be Gallighan, then Boyd, then Thomas, and then Trent Dunham's back here mired in traffic. Kyle Langeland, who got eliminated from the playoffs last week, back at the tail end of the field here, along with Jacob Thibodeau, two-time winner P Zych, and Kyle Keith. Also, our Chatham winner, Joshua Ciculli, in the 62 is back here. Ooh, there might have been some contact there between Langeland and Dunham. Up front, Matthew Logan continues to show the way. S Ozkan wants the lead back, though. Anthony Lopez right there as well. Let's see if he gets a big enough run that he might try 3 wide into 3. They're 3 wide behind them, with J McCloud, Diego Yepez, and Ryan Madden. They settled that back out to double wide, and looks like 2 cars are better than 1. S Ozkan, with help from Anthony Lopez, will get back to the lead. Arthur Xavier slicing and dicing, moves from the top to the bottom. He'll cross over Diego Yepez. That'll be a battle for 4th. Look at S Ozkan up there. Moves high to block Logan, moves low to block Lopez. Kind of like driving at a super speedway here, at least it seems like it, the way that the leader keeps on trying to break up the draft. There's Andrew Miller in the 33, Chase Marks up here in the 3 car, so a number of the RCR related machines are up here, the 3, the 33, the 21, and then the 11 of course gets its equipment out of RCR as well, the Colleague Racing entry of Ryan Madden. Last week we saw Jonathan Zoerlein pick up his first win of the season. Imagine if he was still a playoff contender, then he would have been here in the Final 4 to compete for the championship, and right now would have been the championship leader as he runs in the 13th position. Corey Williams, our Charlotte winner, to his inside. Pole setter Nicholas Romero right behind them. Just ahead of them in the 12th spot, you got Daniel Voyles, who came up about half a car length short from Kyle Langeland in that photo finish at Thornton. And if Voyles had won that race, he would have been in the playoffs. Instead, Langeland ended up getting to the playoffs as a result. As Diego Yepez, no love for the 90 car. He's way up top. Ooh, there may have been a brush of the wall there for S Ozkan, as he's 3 wide with Lopez in the middle and Xavier on the bottom. Matthew Logan's gotten back to the race lead again in the 21. Logan comes into this race currently mired down in the 37th position in points. That's a team that could use a good run. Arthur Xavier is 35th in points. Anthony Lopez is 25th. So all these guys up here running towards the front, just trying to finish out what's been, I mean, let's be honest, terrible seasons for them. Let's go back and check out our championship battle, as Ashland Boyd has now moved up to the highest running playoff contender, currently in 16th. Sean Gallighan, right now the 2nd highest. He's back in 23rd and under fire from Charles Jackson. Kyle Thomas currently runs in 29th, and Trent Dunham, boy, this is not like the trend I was talking about where he ran well, ran poorly, ran well, ran poorly, and was in line to be running well here if the trend continued. He's the last of the championship 4 in the 36th position, but bear in mind, still a long ways to go in this one, and we do have a pit stop coming up. Looking like it might be under green flag conditions as well. Gallighan, I think what he needs right now is to get back to the bottom and hopes Ashland Boyd gets kicked to the top. Right behind Ashland Boyd's David Garcia in the 7. And Garcia thought he was going to get a big run here on the 6, but nope. Ashland Boyd's going to hold it on the bottom as now he's trying to get to the inside of Nicholas Romero. Whoa, contact! Zoerlein into the grass! Off the nose of Quentin Moore. He saves it. He's going to bring it back up the track, though. Oh, this is not going to be good. He just barely clipped J Figadarello, and everybody avoided him. How did they avoid him? What a save by Zoerlein. Fortunately, nobody hit him. He made a little contact with the 2 of Figadarello, but not enough to spin him, and somehow we're still green. Holy cow, that's one of those hearts in your throat moments. There you see the dust kicked up when the 00 was through the grass. Somehow we're still racing, and probably someone needs a change of pants. That would probably be J Figadarello, because his day nearly got wiped out, literally. Somehow he's still running in the 20th position. Talk about dodging a bullet, and that was right in front of Dylan Poteet as well. When Zoerlein came back up, he split the 2 in the 0-7. That was a close call. Tell you who that cost, though, Sean Galligan. He's now way up on the top side, fading back. I think he had to check up because of that, and now he's about to lose a spot to Trent Dunham. That would put him dead last of the final 4. As Ashland Boyd continues to fight his way up here to the front. We talked about 2 elimination races he's been in here in the playoffs, and he was in elimination spots at the time, but was able to get into the respective playoff rounds after that. And right now, challenging for the 11th spot on Diego Yepez. So right now, he is doing his job on track. The question is, will his team be doing their job when the pit stops begin? Would there be any advantage to short pitting, getting fresher rubber? Kyle Thomas is not that far back. He's about to make a move for 23rd on Charles Jackson. And he can see the 6. So this battle is not over. We're not even halfway in this race. And Ashland Boyd's got a very fast race car, now going to make a move on Emmanuel Hartnett. This would crack the top 10 for the 6th car. I just wonder if Ashland Boyd's thinking about getting to the front, getting a lap-led bonus point that he can then hold over his championship 3. If that's the case, if Boyd gets up here and leads a lap, then the other 3 have to finish 2 positions ahead of Ashland Boyd, not 1. Should also point out, just in case it happens, in the event of a tiebreaker, it would then come down to who has the best finish here of the race, I think. I'd have to double check on that. I don't know if it's who would have the best finish of this race or who would have the best finish in the, I think it's who would have the best finish in the race. So let's say, for instance, that Ashland Boyd does lead a lap, and Trent Dunham finishes 2 positions ahead. The tiebreaker would go to Trent. This battle here for the lead just continues to go on. It's been the same players up towards the front for the most part. Ozkan, Xavier, Ryan Madden, Matthew Logan, and Anthony Lopez have all been up here in the top 10 pretty much since the drop of the green flag. They've just been swapping the lead around bit by bit. Ashland Boyd right there in the 6th car, still continuing to hold his ground. Currently in 10th and still on the bottom of the racetrack, but not that far back is where you find Kyle Thomas. Still hanging there at the tail end of this pack. Sean Galligan is way back now. And so too is Trent Dunham. They are in 33rd and 34th, respectively. So I think that their cars are not the way they wanted them to be, and they are definitely going to be looking forward to that pit stop when it happens, which I would assume is going to be somewhere within the next 4 to 5 laps. I think they'll probably pit somewhere before lap 30. That's going to be a difficult thing for these drivers as well, this access road. You see right there, those 2 orange cones? That's where they're going to have to enter pit road using the access road, and we've seen drivers practicing here this weekend. Green flag pit stops, trying to come to pit road, and some guys overdrive that. And that could be a fatal error that could cost someone a championship. So I'm certain the championship 4 spent a good portion of time practicing there. Looks like we got pit stops taking place here. Yep, I thought maybe the 24 was moving up because the 19 was indicating he was coming to pit road. Matthew Logan's in as well. Oh, Ozkan's going to overdrive it. And that was from the lead. He's going to lose a few spots before he gets to pit lane. Hopefully he can even get onto pit road. He will. Did any of our championship 4 pit here in this group? Yes, Kyle Thomas came in. And he was the only one. So Kyle Thomas apparently feeling short pitting may give him an advantage. Yeah, come on, tongue, work with me. Might give him an advantage. As staying out is Chase Marks and J McCloud. Ashland Boyd is in with this group. Jackson and Ciculli stay out, so I think Galligan probably pitted, as did Trent Dunham. Yes, they are going to be on pit road here as well with the 6. That turns the lead over to the 3 of Chase Marks. James McCloud stayed out, as did Dylan Poteet, Joshua Ciculli, and Charles Jackson. And now they're going to come to pit road, at least the 3 and the 23 are. And so will the 07, 62, and 44. Chase Marks overdrove the entry. So he'll lose a spot at least to James McCloud. And Dylan Poteet also overdrove it there as well. He's going to beat Joshua Ciculli onto pit lane, though. There is Matthew Logan, who might cycle around to the race lead because of S Ozkan having issues getting onto pit road. It's like Ryan Madden, Andrew Miller, and Phil Parker there with him as well. Oh, we got an issue. Are we under caution? Problems for the 18 of Emmanuel Hartnett. And he's going to get into Phil Parker, and that's going to bring out a yellow. Hard hit for Diego Yepez. Look out. Everyone's slicing the dice and trying to get through. Kyle Thomas was involved in that wreck. So too was Z Winkle, Corey Williams. And they're still wrecking. I can't see through the dirt. Oh, someone else just hit. That was P Zych in the 48. Caution is definitely out. Kyle Thomas was involved. And the last person that wanted to see that was probably going to be the 6 of Ashland Boyd. And there you see Ciculli, Jackson Poteet coming back off of pit lane. I don't even know where they're going to be. Hartnett's smoking. There's another car smoking there. I think that was K Shearer in the 40. Are we still racing back to the caution? I think we are. I don't think NNSCRA officials have a clue what's going on right now. Leader is J McCloud. So he's got to catch the pace car. Ashland Boyd crossed in 4th. Where's the pace car even at? He's out of turn 4. Thibodeau's on pit road. Winkle's on pit road. Hartnett. P Zych. There's somebody else there. Diego Yepez. And I'm pretty certain I saw the 40 car disabled and on the bottom of the racetrack as well. Wait, is Ciculli the leader? They got Ciculli scored in 10th. No, Ciculli is the leader. Ciculli got off pit road apparently before McCloud did. So he's being scored the front runner here over McCloud, Marks, Xavier, and Boyd. Zoerlein is trapped, I think, on the tail end of the lead lap or maybe a lap down, but he's behind the pace car. And there is K Shearer. Yep, he was involved as well. That was so strange. I don't even know what really happened. All I know is I saw the 18 up the track. The only thing I can think is someone got into somebody else coming off the access road off pit lane exit. And then right back up into traffic. Kyle Thomas got a piece of that, so one of our Championship 4 was involved. And these drivers should be good to go the rest of the way, so we're going to have a green flag run, hopefully to the checkers now, see what these guys got. But let's go back, see if we can figure out just exactly what happened and what brought out this caution, and then everything after that. This was coming off pit road, 3 wide between Emmanuel Hartnett, Quentin Moore, and Jimmy Dawson. And it looks like right there, Hartnett got hooked in the right rear quarter panel. So he would have probably gotten a black flag anyway for unsafe entry onto the track. That's right in front of the leaders, by the way. Logan was the leader at the time. Caution's not out. He gets on the brakes, does Logan, as Hartnett tries to bring it back down the track, probably thinking that if he gets back on the access road and merges over in turn 2, that NSA officials won't black flag him. That obviously would not be the case. And then Hartnett's going to get on the apron, comes up, sideswipes the 22 of Phil Parker, and up the track right in front of Diego Yepez, who'd been running the top 10 all night long. And then it's just going to be on from there. Let's see if we can get a better camera angle here. This isn't going to help. And this ain't going to be so great either. But there you see the 0 of Kyle Thomas. He gets run into by Corey Williams. And then sideswiped by Jacob Thibodeau. Williams spins into the grass. Trent Dunham's going to avoid. Winkle, you see there on the left side of the screen, gets involved. I think Nathan Stapleton got a piece too. Sean Gallighan gets through in the 39. You're going to see him come through the dust cloud, I think, in just a moment there. There he is. And, oh, there's where K Shearer got involved. He got into Z Winkle. Winkle's going to get another shot from Kyle Thomas. So that's 2 hits that Kyle Thomas took. And then P Zych comes in and finishes off the 4 car. So there were about 6-7 drivers right there that were involved. A couple of them were up towards the front. Corey Williams was up at the front for a while. Emmanuel Hartnett was up there battling for the lead. Diego Yepez, I mentioned, was up in the top 10 all night long. And that is a tough break there for Kyle Thomas, because that could very well have taken him out of this championship hunt. Looks like we may be down to 3 to battle for the championship with a little more than 20 laps to go. We have not gotten the 1 to green signal yet, so it looks like we'll be restarting probably on lap 35, which, if my calculations are correct, will give us a total of 20 laps to go. So Joshua Ciculli is going to be the race leader. We're going to have the slower machine. Well, I shouldn't say slower, but we're going to have Jonathan Zoerlein ahead of them. Remember, Zoerlein got spun down to the inside wall in the back straightaway, saved it, almost swept up J Figadarello, but we remained green. Well, he currently is on the tail end of the lead lap, talking about last week's winner, Jonathan Zoerlein. He's currently running ahead of drivers that are out of the race, which include the following: K Shearer, Emmanuel Hartnett, Patrick Zych, Diego Yepez, Jacob Thibodeau, and Z Winkle. None of those are championship drivers. However, Kyle Thomas, who we saw did get involved not once but twice in that wreck, he is 33rd, and right now he is at the very tail end of the longest line. He would be the next to last car in the lead lap, with Zoerlein currently being scored on the lead lap in 34th. So as we look at the running order, Joshua Ciculli, based off of timing and scoring, did get to the line first behind the pace car, so he restarts the leader. James McCloud will be second, Chase Marks in third, Arthur Xavier fourth, and right now your championship leader would be Ashland Boyd, who's currently in the 5th spot. 6th is Anthony Lopez, Quentin Moore in 7th. 8th is Ryan Madden. 9th is going to be J Figadarello, and Andrew Miller is going to complete the top 10. Looking further down the running order, Dylan Poteet will restart 11th, Matthew Logan in 12th. That having to slow up for Emmanuel Hartnett really screwed him up in terms of where he was running. Charles Jackson's 13th, 14th, S Ozkan, Sky Commons 15th. Jimmy Dawson's in 16th, Phil Parker 17th, 18th, Eli Bright, 19th, Kyle Langeland, and 20th is David Garcia. Up to this point, we have not talked about anybody besides Ashland Boyd for our Championship 4. That's because the other competitors are back here. Trent Dunham restarts in 26th, Sean Gallighan in 30th, and the aforementioned Kyle Thomas restarts in 33rd. So, is 20 laps enough time for someone to work their way up from outside the top 25 into the top 10? Well, Ashland Boyd started this race from 41st, and we saw him work his way up into the top 10 within the first 15 laps. So the answer would be yes. Ashland Boyd could also run into some issues here before this race is over. So anything can still happen as we've got 20 laps to go here at Homestead, and the green flag is back in the air. Ashland Boyd might want to rethink his strategy there, because he jumped to the outside line. Anthony Lopez jumps to his inside, and that's going to stick the 6 car on the top side for now. And that could lose Ashland Boyd some positions. McCloud now trying to take the race lead away from Joshua Ciculli. Going to get alongside. He's going to have drafting help as well from the 3 of Chase Marks, and McCloud did lead that lap. Drop back here to the 6 of Ashland Boyd, because this is a hornet's nest where he's running. Might have gotten held up a little bit there by the 00 of Jonathan Zoerlein, who we can tell is somewhat off the pace. Ashland Boyd trying to find a way back to the bottom. Going to try and shoot the middle there between Jimmy Dawson and Arthur Xavier. Trying as best as he can not to look in the rearview mirror and see if any of his championship competitors are catching up. Right now, I think the only one he would have to worry about currently would be Trent Dunham. There is Trent in 24th place, as Sean Gallighan's back here in 31st. And Kyle Thomas, we talked about that he got involved in that wreck. Well, we can see it has affected him speed-wise. He's back in 33rd. Barring the 6, 01, and 39 all getting caught up in a wreck here, I think Kyle Thomas, who had for a good long time the moniker of the only multi-time winner in the Pedrigree Xfinity Series before Patrick Zych went back-to-back, looks like he will not be winning the championship. What a tough break after an unbelievable regular season for that JD Motorsports entry. Absolutely earned the race win at Pig Stadium. Some people will say he lucked into the race win at Riverside with James Shelley having to pit on the final lap, but end result is end result. 2 wins on the season. 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s in 14 starts. Definitely a championship-worthy season, but doesn't look like he'll be hoisting that championship trophy. Ashland Boyd trying to get down to the bottom, but he's got Sky Commons to his inside. He's actually 3 wide. His up top side's Andrew Miller. They are 3 wide, almost 4 wide up here at the front. J Figadarello now moving into second as Jimmy Dawson for the first time tonight is going to lead. And remember, Jimmy Dawson was in that little fracas that caused the caution flag to come out during the cycle of green flag pit stops with that contact between himself, Quentin Moore, and Emmanuel Hartnett. So that caution came out at a very good time for the 14 car. Figadarello, who saw his life flash before his eyes when he nearly got taken out by Jonathan Zoerlein. There he is, and this championship battle ain't over. Ashland Boyd's not only been kicked to the outside, but the extreme outside, 3 wide. Now going to go up the middle 3 wide with Quentin Moore. Where is the closest competitor? Boyd last time by crossed in the 13th position. Trent Dunham is back here. He is in 24th. 11 positions separate those two. Sean Gallighan still waiting in the wings. The thing that Gallighan and Trent Dunham have an advantage over Ashland Boyd with is the fact that Ashland has not been able to get back to the bottom. Still stuck on that top side. Tries to get to the inside line, but Phil Parker sticks his foot in there and keeps the 6 on the top line. Fastest car of the night has been J McCloud. He's been up in the top 5 all night. Now he's trying to get back up to the front, battling side by side for second place with J Figadarello. Timing of that yellow and the pace laps that we ran under yellow, I do believe that these drivers are good to go on fuel. I think it may come down to now just the speed under the hood and how good their tires are in terms of grip, what kind of moves they can make. Ashland Boyd way up the track there out of turn 2, may have brushed the wall and continuing to fall back. Well, I say continuing to fall back, however, Ashland's still running in the 13th position. But while Ashland may be keeping the status quo, Trent Dunham is picking up spots. He's on the inside line, and he is closing quickly. There you see the 0-1 of Trent Dunham, running behind the 42 of Nathan Stapleton. Sean Gallighan still there as well. We can't count him out. He's still in this lead pack. It's going to be 10 laps to go when we hit the line next time by as well. Ooh, Ashland might have caught a break there. Might be able to get down to the inside line now, as Charles Jackson got a little loose in turn 3, and now Boyd's back to single file. Now Ashland Boyd back in the driver's seat, currently on that inside line. Trent Dunham gained some spots, but now he's been kicked to the middle line. So he needs someone to get there and battle with Ashland Boyd again. He may get his wish coming true. Phil Parker making a move on Ashland Boyd. Boyd throws the block. That's for the 14th position. But Ashland Boyd's not thinking about positions. He's thinking about staying ahead of that 0-1 with a championship on the line. 3 wide up ahead there. Battle for third. Joshua Ciculli, Sky Commons, and J Figadarello. Pretty impressive, all the RCR cars that are running up here. The 21, the 2, the 62, the 33, even the 11, which is a satellite team out of RCR. And you had the 3 of Chase Marks up here earlier. He's still there in the top, or actually just outside the top 10 now, battling for 11th with N Ormond. That's all going on right now, though, behind the 14 of Jimmy Dawson. And I think the 6 got kicked back up to the outside line again. Well, did for a brief moment. Phil Parker still trying to make a move on Ashland Boyd. Trent Dunham's been kicked to the outside line as well. He's side by side with Skylar Perry. If they can start moving the 6 car up the track, that will help the 0-1. Charles Jackson thought about making it 3 wide with Phil Parker and Ashland Boyd. That would have been a little bit dicey there going into turn 3. Trent might have a spot behind Skylar Perry to tuck back down, and as soon as I say that, Quentin Moore with a big run is going to fill that hole. Trent can see the 6. But right now, all 3 of the remaining championship competitors are on the top side. As soon as I say that, Trent Dunham shifts low to the inside of S Ozkan. He's closing the gap up between himself and the 6. We got a championship battle here with 6 laps to go at Homestead. Got to jump back up to the front because the battle for the win is just as important as the battle for the championship. Sky Commons looking for his first win on the season after getting eliminated from the playoffs last week at Under Armour. He's all over the back bumper of Jimmy Dawson. Trying to run a half groove lower, trying to get the run off the corner. Can he get to the left rear? Maybe do a little side draft down the front straightaway. 5 laps to go here at Homestead. Let's drop to the back. Let's find the 6 car. 6 of Ashland Boyd back down to the bottom. But now the gap between himself and Trent Dunham is only 4 cars. They're single file here. Ashland Boyd's got to do some mirror driving. Got to keep Kyle Langeland in his rearview mirror. Trent Dunham's got a little bit of room between himself and Skylar Perry as now Boyd to the inside of Charles Jackson, trying to put another car between himself and Trent Dunham. Trent's closing in on Skylar Perry, going to maybe try and make a move there as Charles Jackson was able to hold off Ashlyn Boyd for the moment. Boyd back to the inside line again. Trent's got a bit of a gap back to Quentin Moore, so I think his focus right now is out the windshield on that 6 machine. Boyd cannot make the pass on Charles Jackson. Jackson keeps getting the run off the corner. Now maybe some drafting help down low with Nathan Stapleton will help, but Stapleton now jumps up to the outside with the 44. Boyd's going to block the 42, almost up the racetrack there going into turn 1. I think there was contact between the 6 and the 42. Trent's right there. He's about 3 cars away from Ashlyn Boyd. He needs Ashlyn Boyd to get kicked to the outside line, though. And Boyd's continuing to hold it down in the bottom. Trent now 3 wide. Makes a move on Stapleton. Making a move on Langeland. Now 2 points separate the 6 and the 0-1. Back up at the front. 2 laps to go. Sky Common still side by side with Jimmy Dawson for the race lead. If they continue side by side, J Figadarello might have something to say about this victory. There's only 1 car separating the 6 and the 0-1 now. That's Skylar Perry in the 28. They'll see the white flag this time by. It's Commons on the bottom. Dawson up top. Both drivers looking for their first win of the season. They got Miller back there. J.D. Figadarello, McCloud, Ciculli still side by side for the lead going into turn 1. Sky Common's going to get cleared here. Jimmy Dawson's going to clear him. Common's going to have only 1 more shot here going into turn 3. Ashlyn Boyd, Skylar Perry, they're side by side. Here comes Trent. This is the battle for the championship. Let's go back to the front. Battle for the win. Comes to the inside of Jimmy Dawson. Dawson's gonna win. What about the battle for the championship? Dunham, Boyd, photo finish. Who got it? It was Trent. Trent got it. Oh my word, 17th for Dunham, 18th for Ashlyn Boyd. Trent Dunham, by maybe a splitter, won the Pedrigree Xfinity Series Championship. Are you kidding me? Jimmy Dawson gets his first win on the season. A driver that's been mired 34th in points. But Trent Dunham, it had to have been a splitter. I couldn't tell who it was because of the cars in front. But they say Trent was 17th, Boyd was 18th. Trent with a move on the final lap into turn 3, followed in the tire tracks of Skylar Perry. They were side by side coming off turn 4, and they say it was Trent by 1 position, 1 point, winning this championship. Holy cow! Wow, I am in absolute shock. We're going to go back. We're going to watch the photo finishes for both the win and the championship. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's first look at the battle for the win. Coming off turn 4, Sky Commons tries to get to the inside line. He had J.D. Figadarello right down with him as well, so you'd think they would probably have the better straightaway speed. Gets to the left rear quarter panel, does Commons. But I think Jimmy Dawson was just able to get back to the throttle a little bit sooner, and then you see the 2 cars slide up off the corner. That lost the straightaway draft that Sky Commons needed, and coming down to the line, looks like it was a little bit more than half a car length that Jimmy Dawson is going to edge Sky Commons by. But then let's drop back here, because I want to go back first to the battle going into turn 3. You see right there, Skylar Perry had gotten to the inside of Ashlyn Boyd. Trent Dunham is right there behind him, and Trent says, all right, the door is open. I'm going to go on through. He's going to get at least to the left rear quarter panel of the 6. But we saw before how the 14 was able to hold off the 9 on the straightaway. So I thought maybe Ashlyn Boyd would get the better run here off of turn 4 on the top side. That was not the case. Look at this. How close was it? Look at that. That's right there, folks. That is how close the championship was. That is the difference between 17th and 18th. I don't know if we can get a better camera view of this or not. Doesn't look like it. TV1 was horrible. That's why I wasn't really able, from live action, able to tell who it was. Let's take a look at the helicopter cam. Look at that. I mean, that is unbelievable how that was the battle for our championship. We talked about Trent Dunham. Good run, bad run, good run, bad run. He was in line for a good run here tonight to be the highest finishing of the playoff contenders. That held true, but we also mentioned the fact that Ashland Boyd was the driver that came in clutch during the playoffs, almost was able to do that as well. How ironic, it was these two that battled it out for the championship here in this photo finish. That is the difference between hoisting a championship trophy and going home knowing that you came up just short. That was amazing. Jimmy Dawson with the victory, his first victory of the season. Hey, guess what? Toyota broke into the win column. They got the pole with Nicholas Romero. We mentioned how they had not won a race yet this season. Jimmy Dawson got Toyota their first win of the season here in the finale. Sky Commons in second, Figadarello in third, fourth for Ciculli, fifth for Andrew Miller, and then you got McCloud, Logan, Ormond, Madden, and Chase marks your top 10. Good runs for all of them to finish out the season. But right down there, 17th, 18th, that was the battle for your championship, and Trent Dunham, according to the scoring, by 19 one-thousandths, was able to edge out Ashland Boyd for the title. Sean Gallighan never really got up there in the mix. He was mired back in 26th, so he'll finish third in the overall championship points here this season. And Kyle Thomas got involved in that only wreck during the green flag pit stops. He will finish on the lead lap in the 33rd position. Tough break for a driver that dominated the regular season standings, as he will finish fourth overall in the championship points this season. See the drivers that finished out of the race after the incident that took place right in the middle of the green flag pit stops, but the driver that's going to be doing the burnouts for the championship is Trent Dunham. The driver that's going to be doing the burnouts for the race win is Jimmy Dawson. Boy, I'll tell you what, if this race tonight is anything to indicate tomorrow night, you're not going to want to miss out on the Duracell Cup Series season finale from Homestead-Miami. Ryan Acosta, Michael Norman, Ryan Brommer, Zach Rogers. 4 gladiators enter the Coliseum. Only one will emerge victorious. Who will it be? It came down to 19 one-thousandths. One position here tonight. What will it be tomorrow night? Thank you all so much for tuning into this race. Thank you for tuning into this season and for participating. If you enjoyed this race, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. I need to go get a new voice so that way I'll be able to do the Duracell Cup Series race. You're looking at your full finish results, your overall point standings for the season, and your winner of the championship is Trent Dunham. He is now, as I recall, a 3-time champion now, adding this to his Mobile One Cup Series and I believe it was an Oreo Truck Series championship on this channel. But we will see you guys tomorrow night for the Duracell Cup Series season finale, continuing on championship weekend here from Homestead-Miami. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching Production NSCRA, Offline Racing at its best. Trent Dunham is your inaugural Pizza Hut X Series champion.